So somebody comes to you and says, I have a great idea for our organization to save a lot of money. It's going to cost us about 4 million rand a year to be able to do so. Would you definitely know whether it is going to be the case? Well, Collaborit has designed a tool to specifically answer that through our Techno-Economic simulator. Build a solution where you can build a hierarchical tree, a model if you want of your operation or your business that rolls up to your earnings before income tax and deductions and rotations and everything else that you want to have in there. You've got leaf nodes that can basically your data carriers or value drivers that you are able to influence at the end of the day, or you have their parents, which are defined by the relationship of all the children towards itself. You can use any Excel-based equation in here if you want to, and you can, if Excel hasn't got an equation that you are happy to use, you can always go and write your own one and then use it in here. The solution is able to accommodate that. Over a time series, in this particular case, we've chosen the time period from 2020 to 2040, but it might as well be from 2020 to 2045 or 2050, as big as your data set basically allows you. In this particular case, the solution is designed to give you a comparison between various initiatives so that you know which ones to pick first and which should be the highest priorities for you to get the biggest impact on your bottom line. So let's say in this particular case, somebody comes to you and says, listen, I want to put in online condition-based maintenance systems on our loaders. And it won't make a big difference. It will make a tiny difference. It will improve the uptime of our loaders by loader fleet by 100 hours per year. That's it. Not a big change. Relatively small change. And it's going to cost us about 4 million rand in the first year and then about 2 million rand a year thereafter. Will it be worth your while to do this project? And I've got a couple of other scenarios that I can consider as well. Should I do any of them instead? Well, let's see quickly how we can answer that question. So we've got this scenario that we want to load here, so let's just add it. I'm going to select it as a 1 or a 2 so I can compare it with a base case. In this case, I want to compare it with the base case because the change is going to be relative to the base case. And I just want to change a couple of values in my tree from there. So I go to my tree, I've got my expert operations, there's the loaders, and there's the use time. So the use time in this particular scenario is going to become only 100 hours more, a marginal change at the end of the day. So it's basically our base case plus 100 hours a year from the first year over to all of it. So changes. And this is going to come at a cost. Obviously now you've got implementation downtime, you've got implementation costs or various other areas that could be affected while you implement this. You have to take that into consideration. You're just showing a simplified view to give you an indication of what this tool is capable of. So we've got costs of personnel. Let's just put it in under a capital kind of expenditure that you are doing here. A simple one to compare with, the bottom line. So let's say that this one is going to cost us 2 million rand for the devices in the first year and 1.8 million rand licensing that we have to put in there. There's also going to be 1.8 million, and let's say that we're going to add inflation here as well, so it's 6.3% per year, and let's continue to do so times 6.2% per year going forward. There we go. So this is what we expect to pay over the next couple of years to maintain this solution. So if I go to my node in the tree, I can look at my EBIT. At this stage it's just still showing me the base case. I can look at the difference between the base case and that particular scenario and really get an indication that it seems to be doing better. The base case minus this new one is going to be is going to be negative. So this one is already doing better, but I don't know how much better. What we can do is go and do a scenario analysis. And that's what the solution specifically being designed to do. So we do a scenario analysis, it compares all of the scenarios and their impact on the base case. So there's our base case value, and there are NPVs at the chosen discounted rate for all of them. So if I sort them from largest to smallest, I can quickly see that that particular one is outperforming my base case. The NPV, if I look at the delta of it, is about 13.7 million rand. So spending about 2 million rand a year or so on your licensing, 4 million in the first year to get it implemented, doesn't seem to be such a bad case. If you want to, you can show this on the chart as well, which shows the difference. If I select this one, I can compare the base case and the relative sizes. So cutting the maintenance budget in this particular case is the only one not outperforming the base case. Okay. Obviously, in this case, I need to go and have a look at the uptime of the loaders, because there's another solution that we built into this one, doing a sensitivity analysis on our value drivers. So if you run your sensitivity analysis, it goes and sees what the impact is of each of the value drivers on the bottom line. So if I change a value driver by plus or minus 5%, what would be the effect on my EBITDA? So if I go and sort them out again, from largest to smallest, I can see that these are the most prominent drivers in my driver tree. The stripping ratio and yield and product price, usually you cannot do much about that, maybe unless you're videos, but load use time is the next best one in this case. And so if I were to look at this sensitivity analysis, it tells me that I would have to focus first on my loaders. My loaders would have the biggest impact on the bottom line. Look at the sensitivity chart and give you a relative indication of the changes as well. So changing my cycle time can have an influence, definitely. It will do better if I reduce my cycle time, but it will not have the same leverage or the same gearing as changing something on my loaders and throughputs. And that is what I wanted to show you, just so that you get a feeling of what this kind of a simulation can do. You can see there's 3 scenarios that we've got already on the loader use time and their order of impact. So this scenario's got an enormous impact on the uptime of the equipment. This one's got less, and the one that we've just loaded has got the least. So this is just to keep in mind that obviously if you're going to do all of the scenarios for a particular case, there's diminishing returns. You think you're going to improve your uptime by 100 hours a year, it may be less because you've already implemented these solutions. It's just to give an idea of which ones should be prioritized for which of these value drivers.